it's Rudy Jalapeno here for 5 minutes or less, and today we're going to be reviewing Universal's The Mummy. Now today it's going to be 5 minutes or less and maybe a little bit more because I do want to explain a little something about The Mummy and what Universal is doing with The Mummy. Now everybody these days has a cinematic universe. So when I say cinematic universe, I'm talking about a bunch of movies that come out that are all connected and intertwined in specific ways. Movies like you got Iron Man and Captain America, Thor, they're all leading up to the Avengers. You got Batman versus Superman, you got Wonder Woman, they're all leading up to Justice League. Heck, all the X-Men movies are intertwined in some way or another. Universal Studios own the rights to movies like Dracula, The Wolfman, The Mummy, The Invisible Man, Creature from the Black Lagoon. All these movies that you may or may not have seen either on like late night television or AMC classics or something like that. These movies are old black and white films, and for their time they were scary. People were like frightened of these things. Now nowadays if you watch any of those movies, it's not really going to be that scary, but it's still really interesting to watch those films and go back, even if it's just for the nostalgia factor. So all that being said, what Universal is trying to do now is they're trying to take those monsters and those properties and create what they call a dark universe. And this movie, The Mummy, is the first installment within that dark universe. Now this Mummy has nothing to do with the Brendan Fraser movies that came out back in like, what was it, the late 90s, 2000s or anything. It has nothing to do with any of those. So there's no connective tissue to those films. This movie, however, is the first movie in a series of other films that are going to be coming out with that same connective tissue of the Universal Studios monsters. So with all that out of the way, let's get to The Mummy. The Mummy stars Tom Cruise and Sofia Boutella. You may remember Sofia Boutella from a movie called Kingsman. She was a crazy girl with swords for legs. Now Tom Cruise plays this character named Nick Morton. He awakens this mummified princess from her years and years of sleep, only to have her terrorize people in the modern day atmosphere. So how was the movie? I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the film. I had a great time with the film. Is it great? No, it's really not that great. But I enjoyed the film, and I'll tell you why. Okay, first of all, a few things that I did really enjoy. The action in this movie is great. I loved it. I had a great time. Anytime you get the chance to watch Tom Cruise run, you're having a good time, because he basically runs every single film he's in. Now another big plus to the movie is Sofia Boutella's performance. She offers this crazy new spin on The Mummy. She does really wonderful in her performance, and she just creeps you out. Now Russell Crowe plays Dr. Henry Jekyll. That's right, that Henry Jekyll of Jekyll and Hyde fame. He's actually part of this secret society called the Prodigium. Think of him as Universal's answer to Nick Fury from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Alright, he's just like banding all these people together. He's trying to find all these things. It's really cool. I really liked Russell Crowe's performance in this movie. He always gives a good performance. He knocks it out of the park every time. And again, Russell Crowe plays Dr. Henry Jekyll. And if you know anything about Dr. Jekyll, you know he's got a bad side. Now what I didn't like. Now, you might have heard some bad reviews on the film, and all those are warranted. You know, the story itself is kind of weak. It really seems like the film wants to either be a story about the mummy, maybe it wants to start setting up all these other monster movies. It kind of doesn't know what it wants to be. The story does have holes. The dialogue is goofy.